You have yet to hear an educator complain about the elimination of the Department of Education. Wow. As a matter of fact, it's not even a conversation. It's not a conversation. In my school, we have a high immigrant population. That's what my teachers are talking about.
Dr. Musa, man, brother.
Yes, sir.
You hear about Angie Stone, bro?
Yeah, man, listen, my wife came down. She was a little upset. You know, that's one of her sorority sisters, man. And she said on her last live, she was making a plea to her sorority sisters to come on out to her show. And she was like, man, and I didn't even, what blew my mind is that I did not know that Angie Stone was 60 something years old.
Yeah.
I'm a guy. I thought she was around my age. I ain't spring chicken, but
right.
I thought she was in her early, the mid 50s.
Right.
Because she dated what's the guy?
Angelo.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, well, I know he's around my age. I guess she just liked him a little younger than her.
There it is.
Yeah, man. She was a phenomenon, man.
Man, she was, man. Damn.
Yeah. So that's something, man. We always gotta, that's how you're getting older, man. Even though her passing was tragic and untimely. You're getting older when your heroes and the celebrities of your time are passing away, and it's just unfortunate, man. We lose good people, lose good and great people. She was always down for the people.
Yeah, she was, bro. Yeah, she was. And I see some people got some live streams going about her, man, and little tributes and what have you. You know what I mean? And it's tough, bro. It is tough, man. 63, yo. A lot of time left, man. If you lived right, you got a lot of time left, if God willing.
Yeah, take every day and cherish it.
Man, I remember her back in the 90s, bro. Her music, man, it had that touch of melanin, it had that, that inspirational blackness. You know what I'm saying? Back in the 90s.
She was part of that neo soul genre.
Yes, she was.
Everybody loved it, man. It didn't matter where you were, no matter what city and state you put it on, everybody knew what you was thinking. It was good stuff, man.
You got to go back upstairs, baby. Okay, you got to go back upstairs. I'm talking to Dr. Musa.
Oh, you got the baby out there. The baby like, I want some time. Okay, all right.
Go see mama, baby. Go see mama. Goodness gracious. Yeah, thank you, brother. I appreciate that. She's so fresh.
I sent one of mine out the house. Like, you got to go.
And we got a lock on the door. I don't know. She done picked the lock. That's been basketball.
So what's been going on with you, brother? What's the latest with you, man?
Man, I'm trying to do what I got to do, man. I said, there's no way I'm going to push back this conversation with Dr. Musa, man.
I appreciate you, man, as always, man.
But I'm going to tell you this, man. I woke up last Sunday, right? Mm-hmm. And I was feeling fine.
Okay.
I went to get, washed up and get ready because I had a show that night, of course.
Right.
And I'm like, my eye won't close. My left eye wouldn't close. Bro. I was like, what is going on? And then when I brushed my teeth, my lip wasn't working with me. And I was like, what the hell? No. So I'm thinking I must have had a stroke or something, bro. I'm like, what the hell? I felt fine,
Yeah.
But so it was Sunday, so unfortunately I got the internet, I'm looking up the internet trying to find out what's going on, and I don't want to go sit in urgent care.
Right.
I was in no pain whatsoever. Didn't feel nothing.
Right.
I'm like, wow. Everything's fine. I got no other issues with this. So I'm looking up stuff. I'm like, man, Bell's palsy.
I knew it. I knew that's what you were about to say, brother. I had a fraternity brother, good friend of mine. He's a superintendent in Michigan, and he had the exact same thing. That means you got a lot of stress on you, brother.
That's what they told me, dog.
Yeah.
Because they say, you can be diabetes, it could be upper respiratory infections. I'm like, I got none of that. I had none of these issues, I just got to watch my cholesterol. Who doesn't?
Yeah.
You got to watch what you eat, whatever.
Yeah.
And I've been doing that, You're right. I go to the doctor on Monday morning. I'm sitting there. They do the exam. They say, look, you got a mild case. It's just my eye won't blink. Doc.
Right.
Like I got the Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah.
Look, without the money, bro. Without the
paper, you got the broke Forrest Whitaker.
There you go. I'll take the paid Forrest Whitaker. I'll take that. We'll work around it. Me and the listeners already talked. We'll work around the paid Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah,
or the Shaq. I think Shaq got it too.
Yeah.
It's not common, right? But it's common. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's not like the rarest thing. It's not the bird flu. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, ain't the bird flu.
No.
Well, I tell you the funniest thing about it, when he told me about it, it was the first time I'd ever heard about it. And at the time, he wasn't superintendent. He was, I think he might have been an administrator. He might have even still just been a teacher. He was teaching, he was coaching, you know, his girls, when they were like in elementary or middle school, you know, he had a lot going on in his life. And he said, same thing. He said, I wasn't feeling bad. It just, the left side of his face, he just couldn't move it.
Mm-hmm.
And he said he just went to the doctor. He said, well, I'm just going to go. He said he thought it would just loosen up or something. Maybe it was a tight muscle or something. He said, with the doctor, he said, man, that's Bell's palsy, man. What are you going through? So he said, you stressing. You got to work that out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man.
They say a couple of weeks, like they got some meds, you know, what is it, cortisone or whatever.
Yeah.
And some inflammatory medicine, man, and says take care of that. You know what I'm saying? But I say 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, maybe, who knows?
Yeah.
But I'm gonna tell you, Doc, man, I'm looking at this. I said, you know what, bro? This is a reminder that you could be fine today and tomorrow. There is no rhyme or reason what could happen. I mean, it just things happen.
Yeah.
And I'm blessed, bro. Like I told my wife, I'm blessed. This could have been a stroke. This could have been anything that's, you know, that you just can't walk away from and just shake it off. So, you know, get your house in order, bro.
Yeah, well, I tell you, listen, you out here doing the work for the people, man. So you know, and I genuinely believe that when you're taking in a lot of content, a lot of information that is actually, brother, and we don't really think of it this way, but a lot of the things we take in to do the research so we can give it to the people is traumatizing. You know, you're looking at situations and circumstances that are not normal. Well, let me retract that.
Right.
They're normal, but they're not right. Yeah. We're normalizing a lot of things that are incorrect, but people like you and I, we know something's wrong. We like, this ain't right. And when we're taking it in, we take in a little bit every time, a little bit of that stress, a little bit of that angst about these things. And you got to really be mindful that you detox. And the best way to detox your mind is to having a therapist, a counselor, somebody you talk to at least once a month, where you could kind of purge all that negative energy that you're taking in on a day-to-day basis, brother.
Absolutely, man. It's excellent advice, bro. I gotta live by it. You know what I'm saying? You'll feel fine. You know, I feel fine. You know, but with the stress, it's crazy. So I did a show, Doc. I took a couple of days and I said, you know what? I'm not gonna be able to stay out until this is rectified. So I might as well just come back. Let people know what I'm going through. Let me be a vessel. Right. Let them use me to help somebody else. Let me talk to my people. Let them know what's going on. And I went back and, you know, I didn't tell my family, dog. So, because I'm like, they're going to have a bunch of questions I can't answer. What I'm going to tell you? You know, my mom hit me up last night on doing the show. She was watching my show on Facebook. She said, this morning I called her back. She said, baby, how things going?
Because you know she know.
She said, baby, I saw you had your hat on last night. It was nice. It was an amazing hat. I love you. Look so dapper. Your dad would have loved seeing you to wear that hat like that. Oh, you was a G. I tell you, Steve Harvey ain't got nothing on you. You know, he don't even wear hats like that. Cedric does. Right. You know, you look good. But baby, did you have a mini stroke?
Oh, she called it, didn't she?
Yeah, she has. I said, nah, ma, I'd have told you if it was that.
Right.
But, you know, she hadn't heard of Bell's palsy either, man. But it's just amazing what this internet will do, bro. Speaking of the internet, Doc,
what's going on?
You are an educator.
Yes, sir. You're
a brother that's been doing it. You've been a therapist, educator. You've been working with troubled kids, children going through various issues and male-dominated. You work with girls as well. We're going to get into all that, but does this ever impact what you do online, the conversations you have? Does that impact your work?
You know what, man? I'm gonna tell you, it's funny because you know, I'm new in the game, and so you got to figure things out as you go along. And one of the things that I'm gonna give her a shout out, Trending Topic Tiff. She's been on the internet game, but she's a comedian, and we worked alongside each other in East Orange, New Jersey. She was a teacher, man, but her Instagram following got so big that she resigned. And she does content creation full time. And she told me something. She said, make sure you know you're mindful of your social media because the kids will find you.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So, I heard her, but when she told me that I had no subscribers, I hadn't even made my first video yet, but I told her what I wanted to start doing. And she gave me a lot of positive feedback. But what she did say, she said, if the kids find you, you got to be real mindful of what you say and do. And I've had kids walk to me, Dr. Abdullah, I saw your TikTok. Oh my God. So now that I know, and what they do is once they find you, they share you.
Yeah.
So I got a bunch of students following me with their parents. And so now I have to be extremely mindful of things I say and how I communicate them, because if they respect you, they'll take it for face value, and I tell people all the time, education, even though it is one of the most disrespected fields, it is one of the most important fields. And you literally have children's minds. And you can, if we all as an educating community decided to corrupt the country at a accelerated pace and got on code with the corruption ideology, it would be disastrous for this country. But I want to do the reverse. I want to get on code and be positive and teach our children to teach and learn, But to answer your question, this content, this internet thing, when it comes to children and working with them, you got to be mindful what you say and what you do, because they're watching. They're watching.
Yeah, brother. My last name isn't Black. When I started, I had a regular gig. I was like, I can't lose my job, bro.
Right.
Because I would say everything I was doing was controversial.
Right.
I'm commenting on stuff going on. I think one of my first videos was the knockout game. It was a phenomenon they made.
Oh, I remember that. I remember.
Yeah, that was one of the first things I covered. And I was like, man, I'm here talking this stuff. I'm working around all these people. Government contractor, maybe I'm criticizing the U.S. government. I'm working for the government as a contractor. They don't even need a reason to let you go. We're going to get into that too, because people act like this is new. They're like, oh no, what's going on with federal workers? I'm like, dog, I lived that my entire life,
Yeah, man.
You here today, gone tomorrow, and nobody miss you,
Yeah.
Cleaning out your desk, ain't nothing happened. Somebody else is waiting for that slot.
Yeah, well, the thing for me is, let me tell you something. I grew up in a house with a city worker. My mother was a police officer. And so I had police officers in my family. I had Chrysler, General Motors, and Ford workers in my family. Detroit public librarians. And so listen, I knew what the word layoff meant by the age of 10. I knew what a layoff was. I knew what a slowdown was. Just when you're in that town and people losing jobs and getting cut from rosters. I knew what a pink slip was before I was 12 because you heard the language. So they're talking about this as if it's new. This ain't new, especially not to us. We know what this stuff is. We grew up with it and we've experienced it, First, say last hired, first fired. That's just what we do.
That's what it is, man.
Yes, sir.
What city are you in, Dr. Musa?
I'm in Brooklyn, New York.
That's what I heard, man. I ain't want to guess. I had a feeling it was New York, man.
Oh yeah. I'm Brooklyn. I've been in Brooklyn since 2001.
2001.
Yes,
that's
sir.
About the time you got your what'd you do in 2001? I know it was something on your sheet. 2001. That's when you started. What'd you do?
Well, 2001 when I started in education.
That's what it is.
Yeah. Okay. Prior to that, I was a therapist.
That's it.
And it wasn't fulfilling. So I got my master's in social work in 99. I started in education in 2001. And I just, interestingly enough, this wasn't even supposed to be my career, man. It wasn't. I was supposed, to be very honest with you, I don't even remember what the plan was, but I remember a really good friend of mine, his mother she said, you may want to go into education. And she made a suggestion. She said, they pay good money, you got good benefits, you get the summers off. And I said, well, I'll go ahead and check it out. Maybe I'll do it for a couple of years. Turned into 24.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was the
what
best
it is,
move,
man. Yeah.
Best move I ever could have made.
Man, what you mean? You said therapy wasn't fulfilling. What you mean by that? What's am I opening up a can of worms?
No, it wasn't.
It?
I was a therapist. I was an individual therapist. I did therapeutic work for some agencies, and then I became a therapeutic supervisor. So I supervised therapists. I knew how to do the work. The work wasn't difficult as far as physically, and writing up the reports. But I started to learn a lot about the healthcare system, which angered me and disillusioned me. I found out if you don't have good health care, they'll give you just enough to get you to the hump. You talk about getting over the hump, it gets you to the hump. If you had decent health care, it got you on top of the hump. And if you had great health care, it got you over the hump. And I realized that they didn't care about people. They only care about documentation. So a lot of agencies would for a half an hour session, I might do an hour's worth of paperwork. And I would sit there listening to people's problems. And I found a common theme, which is oppression, depression, lack of resources. All the problems that I heard from my clients were situated around oppression, depression, and lack of resources. And so I always used to think, man, I wonder what this person would have been like. Would they even be on my couch?
Right.
Had they have gotten the best education possible. When I mean education, I don't mean the best schools. I'm talking about the best people in front of them, giving them knowledge and information. So now in educational spaces, what I do is I attempt my best to give them the best possible information to keep them off of the couch as a necessity. I want them to be on the couch as a choice, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yes, it makes sense. Considering, I don't know if I know anybody who went on the couch. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not something that is culturally, what they say, it's a comedian, I forget who it was, probably throw a rock and hit a black comedians made a joke about, if you see a brother on the street corner talking to himself, he's just working it out.
Yeah, he's just working it out.
He's working it out, you know what I'm saying? And that's sort of like the culture, you get hurt, I'm gonna put some Robitussin on it.
That's right.
You need to go
butter on it. Put some butter on it.
Go somewhere and sit down. You need to lay down,
Yeah.
Spend all this time laying down trying to get better. You better get up before the ambulance come, because that's another charge at the ambulance.
You better get in the list. You better get in the cab. I get in the cab before I get in the ambulance. Yeah, man.
So as far as therapy, man, you're saying the best therapist. Hey, how about a therapist?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Talk to somebody, please.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, but I will say this. Our community is becoming more open and amenable to therapy now. It's nothing for a kid that I deal with in my school to tell me, I go to counseling twice a week. I go on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Yeah. And I'm talking about as young as 10, going to therapy, family therapy. And because now that's the way people know you can't handle it on your own. You got to get some insight. And I have no qualms about telling people I go once a week. I got somebody I talk to once a week to unload, tell what's going on in my day and get some insight, because the idea of I got it means you ain't going to get it.
Dr. Musa goes to a therapist.
That's right. That's right. But we learned that in my social work program. They said social workers need social workers and therapists need therapists. They would always say that. That was kind of the mantra,
Man, this is an excellent conversation, bro. I might need to take my ass to some therapy, man. Look at this, man.
Please.
Not to say don't, Mike. Ain't no Mike to it, Tim. You need to go take it. Go now.
You got to, man. It'll take the stress off you, man. And you'll find it's interesting once you get comfortable with your therapist. Now, me, I have a black male therapist, black American man. Love this guy, man. As far as professionally, he knows how to just listen.
Right.
And when I say something crazy, he like, whoa, wait a minute, repeat that. And which is good, because he gives me the real deal, gives me strategies that I may not be able to get. And honestly, I'm going to look at you. I'm like a guy like you who's researched, you're studied, what's going on in the world.
Right.
People assume, you know it all.
Mm.
They won't even think you have a problem. They be like, oh, Tim, he got it. He all right. He got this. Not little did they know. Sometimes, brother, we sit at home and we suffer. We suffer in silence because we have no one to go to. But that therapist, hell, that's what they get paid to do. And they get paid a pretty penny. So make them work for their dollar. That's what I say.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about. Let them work for that dollar. One of the things I experienced, and you might relate to this, Doc, is that when you know stuff, you see it everywhere. Sometimes I wish I don't know. I wish I didn't know. I wish I go back to a time I could watch a show and be like, just enjoy the show and not see what's underneath, not see the white supremacy shit working behind the scenes, not see the construct, the narratives that are being spun. Remember back in the day when it was coming up, I watch a movie and it'd be patriotism. And I'd be like, like Rocky, you're like, you feel good to me, and you didn't realize they were just setting your dumb ass up. This is all propaganda. We didn't win we didn't save the world in World War II. A million Russians died trying to stop Nazi Germany. All these movies was glossing over the fact we sent Jews, we turned the votes back. Like, Jews, we ain't getting involved. We got our own problems. But we try to make ourselves the heroes in all our movies. You know what I'm saying? So you start knowing all these things, and then we start getting into blackness and all this stuff. Oh my God, it's like, oh God, when you start learning about the level of discrimination black folks went to, oh God.
Man,
it's crazy.
Right. You are so right. I was talking to a couple of friends a while ago. I said, man, we didn't even know how racism, anti-blackness, racism, white supremacy was right in our face on television. And I brought up, remember the Dukes of Hazzard? They had a car with the rebel flag on it, called it the General Lee.
General Lee, dog.
And I remember I had the toy. Yep. My mother got me the little race set. I'm up here and I'm like, oh no, I want to be in the General Lee. Ain't that something? And we had no idea because no one talked to us about it because it was just television.
It was just
they told us it's just television.
It's so bad. We popularized our clothes after the damn Daisy Dukes. Remember that?
Daisy Dukes.
That's how much we didn't know. We got some Daisy Dukes. We make songs about it. We rapping about it. About this woman that's with the Confederates.
Yes, we had no idea, man. But but now with independent media, we're actually reaching the youth. My nephew, he asked me about, now the person he asked me about, he's persona non grata at this point, but he asked me about him, and can I say his name? Anything goes. It was the guy. It was the guy. I call him the guy, Andrew Tate.
Okay.
So he asked me, said, "Uncle, are you up on Andrew Tate?" I said, now at the time he asked me, I think he was 15.
Wow.
I was like, yeah. He said, man, me and all my boys, we watch him. I'm like, really? He said, yeah, we all watch him. We be sharing his videos. And it just got me to thinking, wow, so if you really want to get something going, you got to just shoot it to the youth, give it to the youth. Right. And if they attach to it, if they feel comfortable with it, or they're going to take that message out into the world. So it's very, very important that, like when you talked about the Russians and the Ukrainians and, and I have it, but I don't want to ramble on, but I like to say this. We have two generations, and I'm going to keep saying this because a lot of people hate when I say it, but I'm going to keep saying it. We got two generations that put us back and keep trying to hold us back. Those baby boomers and our generation, Generation X. They will not accept reality for what it is. They are still stuck in symbolism. So I'm telling, they like, well, Ukraine, like your cousin Jasmine Crockett, she's up there talking about the Ukrainians. Those are our allies. I'm like, are you talking about the ones with the swastika? Are those the ones that are allies? Are you sure that's the hill you want to die on?
Right.
So because of independent media such as yourself, because I've been a long time follower and subscriber. I love your content.
My brother.
You taught me so much, man. I was like, oh, this guy's the truth. Like I said, I take it back to the beginning of the Wolf Pack, and they all both parties suck, Johnson.
What?
I take it back to there, and I tell people all the time. I said, you got to open your mind up to learn new things, and most of these guys and gals that are on here, they're talking. They're giving you good information, and my job as an educator is I'm taking information. I need you to know this, brother. The information that you give me, I'm giving it to the kids.
Wow.
So that's where we need to be, man. And that's just my take. I know I ramble a little bit, but when it comes, it's just so much needs to be said.
No, man, it's necessary that you ramble, man. It's a conversation. We just chopping it up, man. I hope people can learn from it, enjoy it, be entertained, but also, pick up some nuggets here and there, But bro, Jasmine Crockett, man, she was on my list actually. You rambled to where I wanted to go. We're gonna get everywhere. We got a couple hours.
Let's do that one, because I have been getting jumped on in comment sections and browbeat and told by people that I've known for years. You just don't want to see a Black woman succeed. I said, are we doing that again? Didn't we do enough of that with Kamala? Didn't we do that with Barack? And I'm like, this woman has shown you nothing but symbolism and vitriol. And you talking about, I don't want to see a Black woman. No, I want to see a person help us as a community. And if you're not going to help us as a community, just get out of our way. Get out of our way. You got to be community first, not party first, man. That thing ain't working.
Everything with her is team blue. Everything is team blue. Not team black, it's team blue.
You're right.
It's like
blue no matter who.
We so caught on the symbolism, dog. We just see anybody black. What it is, I think, now, this is my theory, is that when we see somebody accelerate, I don't care at what cost, we transpose ourselves. We feel like, that's me. They representing me. They're going to look out for us. Subliminally, we think they're looking out for us somehow. When that could be the furthest thing from the truth,
Yeah.
White people don't see other white people excel and think anything like that. It's like white folks, by and large, very individualistic when it comes to that. Because there's so many of them. They the dominant.
You're right.
There's so many white people. It's like they just see competition. That's all they see is competition. But Black people, we see something and we want to connect to it. And I'm like, look, I understand, but she got to show you something for you to have that belief system, brother, sister. You can't just assume somebody got your best interest at heart. They gotta demonstrate it. And Jasmine Crockett hasn't been demonstrating it. She's been doing what's necessary for Jasmine Crockett to get a name out there. In the media game, I can see it. It's very evident.
Oh yeah.
Because I know what you got to do. She's just speaking to whatever angers and jumping on Trump, because that's the way you make your name. That's how you get your bones, and that'll propel her. And they let her know early on when Sam Bankman-Fried, the crypto kid that's in jail right now, when he bankrolled her candidacy in Texas, because she's from Missouri.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that. I thought she was from Texas.
Yeah, man. She's from Missouri, man. And originally. And the circles that she keeps, she's not even really in an all Black. It's like a very split district, sort of like AOC. I think AOC has a split district as well. So did Jamal, if I'm not mistaken, Jamal Bowman.
No, goodness.
Not very Black, you know what I'm saying? But they wear the vernacular, and she does the over demonstration theatrics of
the performative Black girl, the performative Black girl.
There it is.
Goodness. And I'm like, that's not who we are. That's who you want people to think we are. That's who they think we are. That performative behavior that we see from a Jasmine Crockett, the sister girl act, as they call it.
Yeah.
That is purely to show the masses I'm down with my peoples. But that's not what it shows. It shows that you code switch only to an end, but we don't know the end truly. To what end are you doing all this performative behavior, man? And you got famous for rightfully and ridiculing this other woman. Did she deserve it? Yeah, she deserved it. Now I ain't gonna say she didn't deserve it. She definitely deserved it. But that's what you're famous for, not for policy,
right?
Not for program, not for actually speaking the actual needs of your community, you known for hiking, capping, and snapping on somebody. So that should tell you something.
It's such a distraction, man. It'd be different if Black people were in a better condition. You know, when we had time for that, you know what I'm saying? That we were just chilling and everybody, our children, we talk about the math rate, the reading rate of Black children, the level, you can tell us, you can speak to that.
Yeah.
We're not in a position to play games. You know, we got too much we got to repair.
Yeah.
For her to be all show and no substance.
No substance.
What I'm saying, bro,
I was actually having a conversation via social media. You know how it is. You get into the comment section and all hell could break loose, because I always tell people Facebook in particular is the vessel of the political vessel for Generation X and the baby boomers.
Yeah.
Right? Because my son, I think he might have a Facebook page, but he doesn't use it. They use it because it's all integrated with Instagram. But I'm sitting here having this long drawn out discussion about the DEI thing, and I'm saying, I'm trying to convey, listen, I understand that, you want to protest something, but that ain't it. We are overwhelmingly underrepresented. We know that who is primarily represented on the roles of DEI.
Right.
And, at best, we fall fourth. At best, right? We're fourth.
Now, when you say we, you mean Black men or Black women?
Black people in general. Now, Black women
probably fall. I think the Black women will fall
Black
four.
Men.
Black women maybe four, but we like 6, 7, 8. Like
right, definitely. We're way below them.
Yeah,
but as a collective group, DEI and affirmative action don't work for us. And she said something to your point. She said that, well, I work in corporate America, and when I and because of DEI programs, I was able to ascend. And because of that, I could bring someone along with me. I said, well, I understand that your sentiment comes from a good space. It comes from a good place. I said, but that's not how communities are built. Bringing one or two people. You bring communities with you by creating institutions. And as the great Dr. Claude Anderson said, he wants to tell all the activists and politicians, stop trying to make programs and policies to get Black people jobs. Create programs to give them money to start businesses so they can hire other Black people and give them jobs. That's how you create a community. So I had to let her know what you're doing is benefiting you and maybe one or two other people. I said, but in the research I've done in just for study, my own personal study and my research for educational purposes, they say that white flight and white fragility kick in at 5 to 8% infiltration. So once Black people reach a percentage rate of 8% in the community, they leave. So if you're in a corporation or in the corporate structure and you're at 8%, they're going to start getting rid of some of you anyway. They're going to get some of you guys about the paint. Y'all got to go. I don't know where you're going, but you're getting the hell up out of here. So, and I don't think she understands because, she's in advertising, her husband's in medicine and, so it's all about what do I need and how can I get somebody to bring one or two people along with me. So.
Yeah, that's not going to be enough, man, to move us somewhere. I don't think people realize the actual depths of where we at. You know what I'm saying? We sell 10 cents a dime for every dollar a white family has on average. The racial wealth gap is growing. It's not getting tighter. And now we got the influx of immigration going on. And that's, if you start, when I did my research on the immigration piece of it, I'm saying, folks, like what's happening right now is so catastrophic that anything other than radical change is not going to move the needle for us. You got to understand what we're dealing with. We just had 10 million people, and that's the modest number. I've seen people say 20 million. I can't verify the 20 million that came through the border. So these people, for whatever reason, they move above us in the hierarchy.
Man, well, they're elevated. They're elevated. They're elevated above us. You know what's crazy? Dr. Claude Anderson said in the 90s, he predicted all of this.
Yep.
In Black Labor, White Wealth, he predicted every single thing we're going through. But the thing that really stresses me out, brother, is that he predicted in the early 90s, I think 1992, he said, if we don't come up with a comprehensive plan for our community, we will be relegated to a permanent underclass by, wait for it, 2013.
Wow.
And so this is what is strong with it just scares me so much.
Yeah.
That every other part of the book was spot on, no deviation. I mean, literally no deviation. Everything he said came to pass. And that 2013, nobody's talking about it. We're in 2025. We're 12 years beyond his target date.
12 years. Yeah.
So my question is this, and we need to really be honest with ourselves. Are we a permanent underclass now?
Yes. I would believe so. I believe I think, save for the individuals that are able to transverse, avoid the potholes and make out some type of, it doesn't mean everybody is going to, fall to that. But I do believe the majority of Black folks are going to suffer this, man. And they're going to be one-offs. And this is the dilemma that we go through, right? Let's have that real talk. Like, we think, I know it hits me every once in a while. I'm like, I'm up here I feel like I'm trying to get water out of a tugboat with a Dixie cup. And then I got people yelling at me, trying to knock the water out, knock the cup out of my hand.
Right. You don't know what you're talking about, right?
I know the people I'm trying to help.
Right.
Because they want to live in la land. It's too negative. If I see another sad emotion face on a video, on a topic that is just what it is, I can't lie to you about what's going on. It's almost as if you got to save yourself. They say, if you're on a plane, they teach you to put your mask on first.
That's right.
You got to put your mask on first. And I'm trying to do that. I know I got to do that. Maybe that's where the stress comes from, Doc.
Yeah.
Because I want everybody to put their mask on.
At the same time, we can all get off this plane, right?
I want us all to get off the plane, man.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between a Jasmine Crockett, a Joy Reid, a Van Jones, all these individuals who are succeeding. I'll go further. I'll go Michael Lamont Hill. I'll go Roland Martin. That's me. Now look, these these personal comments are Tim Black, not my brother Dr. Musa.
Yeah.
But he can speak for himself. Don't no guilty by association. But
right.
You know what I'm saying? I personally just feel those people are going for self.
Oh, yeah, of course they are, brother. I'm gonna say this to you. I was in my living room just sitting there thinking. I do this a lot, and that's what kind of stresses me out too. I think too much. I said that because I'm thinking about industries that had we got a hold of them in their infancy, at least for our community, we wouldn't have to worry about some of the things we're worrying about today. And I said to myself, I genuinely believe, and this may be controversial, but I don't think so. I genuinely believe that some of these multi-millionaire people in our community, I believe they're given the conversation. And the conversation is this. Look here. It's over with for all of y'all. You can't do nothing about it. The best you can do is save you and your family.
There it is.
Do you want to mess that up? If you don't want to mess that up, keep doing what you're doing, but don't add that extra stuff, all that empowerment, black thing, all that. No. You can't do that because then you're going to mess yourself up and you're going to be like the rest of them Negroes.
Yeah. And then you won't be able to help nobody. You can't help
nobody. You can't even help yourself. So if I were you, I would calm down. So, and the reason why I say that is because I've talked about it on multiple videos in my channel, and I talked about it with, I started a channel with my good brother, Michael Burr, called The Grit Network. And we talked to the great Dr. Rima. And the title of the video was Divide, Empower, and Indoctrinate. Talking about DEI. And she said something to me that was actually heartbreaking, brother. It just made me question myself. You know, I'm in education. I'm talking about we need to do this and we need to do that and we need to fight this and fight that. And she said to me, she said, you know what, Musa, I've known you for a very long time and I know you mean well. She said, but you ain't moving nothing. You ain't moving no needles. Because if you were, they'd have been got rid of your ass.
What?
Man, that messed my head up for months. And at that moment, I recognized the truth. These systems are set up that at the moment you decide, even make the decision to do better for your community, our community, you got to go. You have got to go.
You know, I believe you're right. I believe you're right to a certain extent. Also, the fact that, speaking to your larger point, that brothers and sisters get to talk from somewhere. Someone tells them something because it's too common. Like, you know, everybody can't be bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody can't be a sellout.
Right.
The system has to be part of the reason, the influence. Like, I mean, I'm just going to put it out there. When I was disappointed in Dr. West on some things. To be totally honest, I'm gonna go there. I was disappointed.
I got you.
That was my brother. You know what I'm saying? And I was a fan of Dr. West before I met Dr. West.
Okay.
And then I met him like 5 years ago, and we spent time talking and chopping it up. We've been on the show 10 times. We met in person. We went to Ohio to work with Nina Turner on her campaign. Okay. So I got to know him. My wife got to know his wife. You know, the whole thing, man. And Nina Turner, sister Turner, man, we sitting there. I'm there, you know, we're at dinner with the family, everybody there. We're trying to get that seat in Ohio. And I just felt a connection with Dr. West, man, and he's always had my back, you know. And when he started running, bro, I'm like, you know, the people was coming at him because he was talking black shit. They was coming for him, man. They was coming. All the people that said they loved him, they were very bold too. The progressives, you can't be talking this black stuff, Dr. West. No. Don't talk about white supremacy. What are you doing, Dr. West? You're supposed to be uniting us. What are you talking about? And Dr. West is like, my brother. I have to talk about Al Green and the great, Sam Cooke, and this is from down in the soul, this is from black people from all over, where we come from, and Stokely Carmichael and Baldwin, and he's like, and he's Miles Davis, and he's doing this thing. Saying, I'm from a long tradition of black people that stand up, and they're like, we ain't trying to hear all that, Dr. West, all this black stuff. So it just made me more resilient as having his back.
Oh yeah.
But bro, I think somebody pulled Dr. West up and they was like, look, if you done lost Princeton, you done lost Harvard, you lost all these opportunities fighting for different people. You mess around and go up here and you mess up Joe Biden, you go too hard on Joe Biden, you're going to lose everything. We're going to take what's left of what you have. And you are now 70, sir. You are now 70 years old, so you just got a new wife. You got a life. Don't lose it all on this little, vanity run.
Yes, right.
Because we're gonna take it from you. We'll smear you now. You want to talk about guys, and you can do that. We'll bring you on every once in a while. But you start riling up the blacks. You start talking true black empowerment. Then we're gonna take whatever's left of what you have, and we'll have you out there. And they let them know. They send a shot across the vote because they put out an article saying he owed child support.
Ooh, when I saw that, I said, there they go. He didn't talk about us too much. He didn't said black too much.
He done pissed somebody off. So I said, damn, man, the Dr. West ain't going to throw caution to the wind and say, fuck it. Excuse my language. Well, it's my show, but.
Yeah, it's your show, baby. Say what you want to say.
But you know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, if Dr. West can't speak this shit, damn, what does that say, bro? And he hit me with something one day, and I never really talked to him really about it. But I was dealing with it because my people were like, Tim Black, you're not keeping it real. You let this guy come on your show and just talk and do all this theatrical shit. Tim Black, what's up? They didn't know I had such a quandary, bro, because that's my guy.
Yeah. You developed a relationship. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's not easy when you got a friend, somebody you consider a friend. I can call Dr. West up 2:00 in the morning and talk to him. You don't understand. This is not a regular relationship. This is not just somebody on the internet you talk to every once in a while. This is a guy that when I lost my daughter, him and his wife talking to me and my wife, like, this is, consoling us. We on a personal level, and he's not, so if we're in a bad situation, my thing is this. Dr. West said to me, he said, well, one day he said to him, like, you ain't getting no younger yourself.
Uh-oh.
He said, you ain't getting no younger yourself, brother. Who we are, because I was talking about John Lewis. I said, John Lewis sold out. He said, well, John Lewis of 75 is not the John Lewis of 45 or 35 or 25. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
I was like, damn, this is real life shit. So we have expectations of what people should do, and those people are always somebody else.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, won't they risk it all? Won't they throw it all away? If
I was in that position, I'd do it. Yeah.
You can say that because you're not in that position.
That's right.
So I always try to think along them lines, Doc. I'm like, I want to keep it real. I want to be honest, and being honest is to say, I think that we both can agree that this is not a black and white issue. It's gray issues we're dealing with, and it's a case-by-case basis.
I agree.
And there are forces out here that are bigger than any individual one of us.
That's right.
That's what we're talking about. So you can be gung-ho if you want to, they'll choke you out like Aragana and leave you on the corner.
Woo. And nobody will come to your rescue. Nobody come to your aid. Nobody, they might say have a couple vigils for you. That's about it. I know I had, listen, there was a man that I work with that I've had a great relationship with him for over 20 years. Mm-hmm. And this man barely speaks to me because I came to work with a West Abdullah 2024 t-shirt on.
Wow.
I mean, this is the kicker. He actually was vocal about the fact that he had to disconnect. I need to just step away from you for a minute. I said, because my t-shirt, because I support West Abdullah, the ticket. Well, that you might as well vote for Trump if you do that. And if that's the case, that puts you in that camp.
Wow.
And even to this day, there is a level of tension between he and I, because I was very open about the fact that I am a West Abdullah voter, and to see his pivot, it was disheartening. I'm like, he's not really sounding the same towards the end of the campaign.
Yeah.
And it was, I knew where he started. So
yeah, he softened his rhetoric. He did.
But to your point, it's so easy to say what you do when you're not in the position. Mm-hmm. I was thinking, man, you already said it. And if they on your neck, you might as well go out with a bang. Well, what does go out with a bang look like?
Right.
Especially at 70 years of age. Mm-hmm. That man could be I'm 52. He could be my father.
There it is.
So we got to also consider the potential losses that people are willing to put themselves or not willing to put themselves into. Mm-hmm. I do recognize that we all need to move, but this is where, and I had this conversation with my wife yesterday. I said, the problem is that we're too busy not passing the baton. Mm. I think the struggles that we as a country are going through need to be the solutions need to be spearheaded by the youth. I said there is no reason why my son, who is 12 years old, knows who the heck Al Sharpton is in real time. He shouldn't even know who he is in real time. He should be reading about him in a history book.
Wow.
My eldest son is 34. He's one of the people who should be out there making changes.
Yeah.
Because they say that there was a study that said that was it 40% of all crimes are committed by people under, was it 30%, 40% of all crimes were committed by people under the age of 40.
Makes sense.
And the reason why is because they have a lot less to lose.
Yeah.
So you got this 25-year-old who's about the community. He's like, well, what you gonna take from me? I ain't got nothing. But you got somebody like a Sharpton who we know he's at even on a good day, he's controlled opposition. And that's on a good day. Right. He's got millions to lose, and you think he's gonna lose it for us? By no means. And by no means am I putting Brother West in a Sharpton box. By no means.
Right.
Am I putting him in that box? But we must consider, like you said, brother, I'm just regurgitating your point. He's 70 years old, and they probably did have that conversation. You want us to take the little bit you got? Keep talking.
Yeah, he went so far to say they reached out to him, like, I think it was somebody either in the Kamala camp or the Biden camp, like, look, we can offer you a couple of things if you shut up. We can work something out on the back end if you shut up. He said he turned them down. I hope he did, but only he'll know. I don't know him. A lot of people know him. I don't know him as well enough that I would ask that question. But
right.
They didn't just shut him out. They shut off RFK. They shut off RFK Jr. too. How you going to blacklist a Kennedy?
They can do it. They listen. They it's so funny. They actually they went ahead and they got rid of Jill Stein so easy. They got rid of Jill Stein so easy. That was easy.
She don't got no name. She don't have any.
Yeah.
She don't really have that national profile like that.
Yeah.
But for them to do RFK Jr. like that, to me, he was a Democrat.
Yeah.
They pulled the plug on Democrats. Dean Phillips is a Democrat.
Yeah.
Marianne Williamson, lesser importance, I would think, in the grand scheme of things, but she sat down with me in 2020. We had a conversation, her and Andrew Yang, but I'll say they pulled the plug on her. She was a ghost.
There you go.
These are people in their own party that are white.
Yeah. Ain't that something? So what does that tell you?
What does that tell you? And you know what, Doc? That's one of the things I think black people, I know we talk this black stuff. We talk about what's going on with Black America. We focus on it. Foundational Black Americans, V1, melanin. We do all this. We talk about it because it's who we are. It's what we want to. We choose to center our conversations around. But everything is not black.
No, it's not.
Part of the game to me, Doctor, and I want to get your response on this. Part of the game is for black people to recognize that the game they run on us is also a game of what we can and can't do because of blackness. It's a mind screw, and we think white people are all doing well. We think the white people got it going good.
That's right.
These people, a lot of brothers and sisters haven't traveled at all.
Yeah.
I started doing comedy. If you follow the channel, I did some comedy stuff like 4 years ago. I went Portland, Salt Lake City, Ohio. I went to various places in the Midwest, and I saw some poor ass white people. I saw some poor ass white people. There was really no black people. Okay.
Yeah.
Black Americans just believe that white people got it easy. I'm telling you, there's a lot of struggling ass white people. America don't care nothing about white people either. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this. I'm from Michigan, right? And me being from Michigan, I understand the poor whites. I've seen them in a particular city was 3 blocks from my home, Warren, Michigan. That we knew them as the trailer parks. That's what we knew them for, and the racism that they exhibited was resentment because a lot of us were working the big 3 city jobs. So we had money. We had more than they did at least. And that, there was a level of contempt they had for us. So you're absolutely right. So when I have these conversations, they start talking about, they're going to cut EBT and they're going to cut this. And I'm like, well, that ain't going to affect us as hard as it's going to affect them, So I think we need to really just have the one statement that a lot of pro-black people and people that are in situations where they are focused on the black community, they don't recognize that if the nation would just do right by people, just do right by people, treat everyone the way you wish to be treated, everyone would benefit.
Yeah.
Just leave us to our own devices. If you give this group something, give us something. and everyone will benefit. And there's always been that cost analysis about how the white community suffers because of racism as well.
Yeah.
People don't want to have that conversation.
Because when black people got money, we spend it with anybody.
We spend with anybody. Listen.
We don't need the country to go spend our money.
That's right. We spend it right here. So if you got a good business, you treating us right, we like your product, we don't care what you look like. We will just as soon do whatever we got to do. And I think that what ends up happening is that people don't ever talk about that. And the reason why they don't talk about it is because it disrupts the narrative. You got it. Yeah, it does disrupt the narrative, man. And I think we should have. It's a tough conversation. I don't want to minimize what black people go through. Don't get me wrong. I'm not. Neither one of us are trying to do that. But I'm just saying we got to recognize that pain is. Listen to a Dave Chappelle skit. That's all I'm saying. Listen to a Dave Chappelle skit. He ain't lying when he tell you about the poor whites. He's not lying. They are okay. Paula Swearingen was running in West Virginia. She was one of the original squad folks that was with AOC. There was a couple of others. Corey Bush was another one. There was a Netflix show. I think it was called The Squad. I forget the name of it, but it was back before AOC got elected. And they followed these 4 candidates. Paula Swearingen's from West Virginia. She was a candidate. Every man in her family died from black lung disease in the mines in West Virginia. Wow. Every male. That's the job, West Virginia. That's the industry. It's either that or working at a hotel, or maybe at the jail. That's it. And all of them died from black lung. That's tough.
And so we don't. We got our cancer roll in Alabama. Mm-hmm. Black people got their issues, environmental injustice, lots of things. Mass incarceration, prenatal healthcare, prenatal care, but also recognize the class struggle that's also going on, and trying to find a way to have that conversation without selling brothers and sisters out. Because I want to say it, but I don't want them to think I'm moving my eye off the ball when it comes to race. Because I'm there with you, but recognize America had 12-year-old, 10-year-old white kids losing their arms in factories. You got to recognize they didn't just have black people in the fields. When they industrialized, they ain't had no unions.
Child labor was real.
Was it truck drivers lighting cigarettes and burning themselves to keep themselves up at night? If you miss a shift, they dock your pay. They, all types of crazy stuff. No labor laws, just screw poor people.
I like to say that I think that the reason why, particularly the delineation movement, we'll go that route, of foundational Black Americans, of separating ourselves and acknowledging, not separating ourselves because we just don't want to deal with other people. We're separating ourselves so we can get our house in order, right?
Okay.
That has come because of the fact that the country divides based on race, but the true division is economic. That's the true division. The race is obvious. See, that's the thing. I don't know, looking at you, depending on your presentation, your economic standing. I don't know your status. I don't know. I'm looking at you. It looks okay. I've literally said that to people who ask me for money when they ask for money I'm like, you look all right to me.
You don't need no super chat.
I'll give them the business, but I'm like, but you look okay though. I don't know. But so we don't know that. We have no idea. So what do? We just assume, like you said, all white people got it together, but I'm going to tell you, if you come to New York City, you might believe that. You might actually believe all the white people got together. Go to Long Island, though. Go upstate. You'll see. Oh, couldn't be any farther from the truth. And it's a charade. It's an act. And the people that actually have, they don't mind playing their part. But I think that it was Neely Fuller who said it. I'm not sure. Please don't quote me on the author, but he always says that white people have $1 million worth of whiteness.
Oh, yeah, that sounds like him.
Yeah, he said that. I mean, that's where the whiteness. And I think a lot of us have grasped hold of that. And we actually believe it's actual currency. And it's not. It's not actual currency. What it means is that if you're able to get yourself in the position to move up, you have a greater chance. Right. But see, whites in America, they benefit from listening to people like Jim Rohn, you know. Yeah, reading the book.
Tony Robbins, Andrew Carnegie,
right?
Andrew Carnegie.
Right. Reading books like The Richest Man in Babylon. You know, they can benefit from those texts and listening to those people. But the problem is that there's only a limited amount of space even for them. It's a limited amount of space because it's kind of like the participation trophy. If everybody gets a trophy, the first place trophy don't mean as much as it used to.
Wow. It is.
And that's kind of I think about when I think about the white community. You know, yeah, I know you definitely have a leg up as it pertains to opportunities. But the question is, are you in the rooms to even be offered the opportunity?
But where the issue also comes up, Doc, is that there's so many white people that it's dog eat world, dog eat dog. It is, it's like comedian Bill Burr talks about it. He's like, yeah, you know, people think I got it easy because I'm the white guy. You know, the white guys there's a lot of white guys. You know, you still got to work hard as shit because it's a lot of white. You know, and I didn't realize. Like, I see an actor and they talk about going to read a cast, and that puts it in perspective. From what I understand, is you go in and there's 20, 50 guys with the same one job,
right?
And all of them have done different types of work. You know, some of them have done great movies, more movies than you, and you sitting there, you're a white guy, going outside, people go, oh, he's a star. But when you go into that audition room, you are with a bunch of other stars. And they get to choose from the other stars, too. So it's always this competitive competition that's going on beneath the scenes, man. But I tell you, I was one of those guys who grew up on those books you talked about, the Andrew Carnegie, the Tony Robbins, the Les Brown. Les Brown
is real. Yeah, Les Brown. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me, I don't know if you remember the movie without, Jim Carrey, Dick and Jane.
Okay, yeah.
Now, I don't know if you remember this one particular scene where, you know, his company had imploded, all the embezzlement, and he was going on a job interview. And he looked around the corner, and it was a long line of a bunch of white guys with the black suits on, with their briefcases. It was wrapped around the corner, down the stairs, and they started running to try to get to the interview. They were all in the parking structure trying to get to this interview. And I think that because we recognize that they have those struggles, but we don't really care. You know, we like, that's them. They'll be okay. And I'm gonna be honest, my personal perspective is I worry about the Black community.
There it is.
First, second, and third. That's where I am, because we got a lot of stuff we need to be doing, even more so now that we've identified that we are a permanent underclass. But I am not oblivious to the fact that, you know, whites in this country, they get it bad too, you know, and because of the way I was brought up, I was always taught to respect my elders, you know, but I remember having a conflict inside. I would see elderly white people, and my upbringing says you respect your elders. But my experiences was that elder right there probably was one of the people who oppressed one of mine, you know. So here I am struggling, you know, but my mother always would say, you do good because it's good, not because it gets your reward.
God bless her. Yes,
you
sir.
know,
yes, sir.
So
yes, sir.
I would always, you know, if I see one, how you doing, sir? How you doing, ma'am? Because that's what I was taught. And more importantly, what helped me to maintain that demeanor and that position was I noticed even one of the most vocal in our community, Minister Louis Farrakhan. It doesn't matter who he's speaking to. They are sir. They are ma'am.
Well, you know what? It's not so. I don't want to make it seem like I'm on that type of shit now, where I'm like, oh, we got to care about the whites.
No. But he has a level of respect because even though he's for the community, he recognizes that we're all human and we all have our struggles.
I just want to put it in perspective for Black people to realize how bad the country really is. Okay. Like, I want them to understand we really don't care. America really doesn't care. It cares about capital. Okay. Yeah. It doesn't, it'll eat anybody. It'll eat Black people first. It'll eat anybody. It does not care about the citizens in the way I think we envision it does. You know, I think some of us, and I used to envision, oh, well, you know, America just hates Black people, you know, because I watch Roots. I read Nat Turner, what they did to Nat Turner. I mean, they cooked his skin. They took pieces of his bones and put them on a mantle.
Yeah, they made book bindings.
They made book bindings from it. Can you, this is what they do to Jack the Ripper? I don't know. Nothing. So what I'm saying is, for these atrocities they did to Black people, this is a deep-seated hatred, unbridled hatred that white people had of Black people. And I'm like, then I started learning, well, you know, they did medical experiments on themselves. They massacre, they disenfranchise, discriminate. They beat the shit out of people just wanting to be able to take the day off. Like, they did horrific things and did not care about each other. Erin Brockovich, when I was like 25, I saw her special where she trying to sue because of people dying in the community from the water.
Oh yeah,
and the company's like, well, ain't got nothing to do with it. So what? And this, you would think this is Black people this is happening to. Nope. So I'm just saying, I think we got to realize this. America is, for lack of a better way to put it, man, I think America is just some shit in a lot of ways to the majority of its citizens, and we get the brunt of it. Don't get me twisted, but don't think that they are helpful.
No, not at all.
I just want to put it in. I just want to put it in.
You got to put it into perspective.
That's all I'm saying. Because because I definitely feel that I don't want to be too much of a downer. No.
You just telling the truth, brother.
Black people understand already, but white folks start crying when I start breaking down the shit that America does, because they have hope.
Yeah,
it's misguided hope.
Yeah, it is. But you know what it is? I think that one of the biggest issues is that we don't even consider, and we had it right in our face, brother, when the stimulus checks came out. People saw that as a win. I said, this is just a representation of how we're losing.
There it is.
That's what that is. That's not a win. They just literally showed us how little we mean to them with those stimulus checks, because you had other countries that gave all their citizens stipends during the pandemic, monthly stipends to live, so they wouldn't have to worry about. But the best they did for us is, because we're a capitalist society, put major payments on pause, not eliminated major payments, put them on pause.
On pause, baby.
Like, I have a mortgage. I live in a city that has one of the highest property rates in the nation, and they put our stuff on pause. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yep.
Do you know what's going on out here? And you just want to tell me, well, look, we'll give you a couple of months, but we will be back. We're going to, as they say, we're going to circle the block and get that money.
Yep.
And I'm thinking, why are people so excited when the American government is telling you we care about you just enough to keep our economy going? Because all that money they said it was a stimulus check. Well, what were they stimulating? People don't even ask that question. It was a stimulus. It was to stimulate the economy, which meant what? Put the money. We're going to give you this money to give right back to us.
Give right back to us.
And that was amazing to me that people were celebrating that check.
Just the fact that we needed it. Just the fact that everybody needed to survive. Think about that. In the country. What's so good about being there? Everyone says America's the revolution, what is it? The economic power of the world. What good is that if, for what? Netflix? Because we got Netflix channels?
If your citizens are struggling, you are the world economic power, but your citizens are struggling.
You can't
all
get
of us.
You talked about, being in I think it was therapy. You talked about the healthcare and how, and look at the healthcare situation. For 2 seconds, we were all concerned about the healthcare, the murder of the the nationwide medical coverage company that was a United Healthcare.
United Healthcare.
Luigi Domenico, whatever his name is. Domingo. The assassination. They call it assassination. Their brother got shot, but he got shot.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about it for a little while. You thought this is gonna grow legs. People gonna do something. Something's gonna happen. Oh my God, what are we gonna do? People upset now. Yeah, time to go get universal health care. And then came some other shit to talk about. Something that took it out of the news cycle.
There you go.
And now they're making a movie about it. It'll be out next week.
That's right. And that's you're absolutely correct. You know who touched on it in depth? Sabrina Salvati, Sabby Sabs. She was actually doing commentary on what's the comedian's name? She's always erratic, always she don't get along with nobody.
It's a she, Monique.
No. Light complexion woman, curly hair.
Light complexion. So it's a sister.
Yeah.
It's a sister that don't get along. A comedian. Huh.
Yeah, she actually fell out with Issa Rae. How come
okay. Amanda Seales.
Amanda Seales. I'm having an old man moment. Well, yeah. So Amanda Seales actually did an interview with Don Lemon.
Okay.
And she made an excellent point. She said in other countries, in this particular instance, she was speaking on France.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. She said they just talked about doing it. And they tore that country up. Mm-hmm. They're like, oh, that's off the table now. Mm-hmm. How come there are not more economic protests? This is Amanda Seales speaking, and she was speaking the truth. She said, for all intents and purposes, I'm using my own verbiage, but we should be so turned up over some of the policies that affect the economy. We should be in the streets right now as we speak. We should be out in them streets. But we're like, hey, we okay. We doing all right. But we're not.
Well, you know what?
Nation.
That's a great, let's hold it there for a minute, because I think that says something, I'll take a stab at it. Mm-hmm. I think Americans are so beat down with our system that they feel like we're not gonna get nothing anyway. They're despondent. I don't know, just jaded to the point of they care, right? But they think the likelihood of us actually overturning this system is so far-fetched.
It's apathy.
There you go, apathy. That's it.
Yeah,
that's what it is. It's not that people don't care. They just feel like, what are we gonna do, Tim? Well, the chance of this happening, Tim, is so far-fetched. Yeah. We got to live in reality, and this is what we have. This is our system, and the best thing you could do is get a good job, try to put some money away, take care of your family, and just hold tight. Because
that's right.
The answer to the question is people are desperate enough. I don't know what's going on in your life or what's going on in anyone else's life, but people are so desperate, they got real life shit. If you could sit up and your main concern is Trump's in office, you are lucky.
Yeah, I wish that was my only concern.
That's what I'm saying. If you live, that's one of my problems with the progressives. Yeah. If you can sit back and worry about some of the things that they worry about, they go on and on Twitter about. If that's really what you're concerned about, what Jasmine Crockett said to Marjorie Taylor Greene, if that's really got you, then you are blessed, because we got people that can't live indoors. We got people whose parents need to get healthcare coverage and can't get it. We got children that are behind bars. We got other people. I lost my daughter to fentanyl and overdose. There are people dealing with that. I didn't realize how big that community was of people that have been through that. You think, oh man, this is a rare thing. A young woman with 3 kids dies of fentanyl overdose, and then I pulled the wrapper off the package, and there are hundreds and hundreds of thousands of Black women who have died from fentanyl overdoses in the last 5 years. And DC was one of the leading places. I had no idea what was going on. I had no idea the extent of my baby girl's, addiction and how far reaching it was and until it was too late. So, if you are worried about these things, like people look at the healthcare, and of course, until you're in it, you're like, that's fucked up. We should fix that.
Right.
But we got so many immediate problems.
I can't even lie. There's so many things you said, brother, that I have to unpack. First and foremost, let me go backwards. I want to extend my condolences again for your daughter, for your loss. I had no idea that that epidemic had reached such a high level in the DC area. Yeah. I had no idea. And see, that's another thing. The information suppression it's real, because if people really started to know about things like that, and see, you have another connection to this whole immigrant crisis. There's just so many things that you said, brother. Oh my God, I don't even know where to go. But when you said about the immigrant, when they start talking about people start having this black and this brown thing, and we're talking about the illegal import of this drug, man. This thing is real. You can attest to it. Also, as far as Salvati, I had no idea that she would kick a brother such as yourselves back in, because from what I've experienced from your content, brother, is that in having our conversations on offline, your concern is truly having America just truly live up to its promise.
That's it.
Just live up to it. Just do what you said you were going to do. We ain't asking for no more than that. We ain't asking you to go above and beyond. Just do what you said you were going to do. Right. And then I think when I start to focus on where we need to be as a nation, I go back to my original point. If we just were to say, hey, let's give everyone what they deserve, what they've earned by being citizens of this country, we would be so much better off. I'm the co-coordinator for the McKinney-Vento program in my school. A lot of people don't know what McKinney-Vento is. Well, McKinney-Vento is an act that was proposed by the government that allows us in educational institutions, in particular, to assist homeless and displaced populations. Wow. So if a child comes to my school and they let me know, or let the school know, hey, I'm homeless or I'm living with a relative, the color, religion, none of that matters. You're homeless, you're displaced. My job as a coordinator for McKinney-Vento is to ensure that you are in school with the least amount of restrictions while you're here. That means you have access to all of our after school programmings, food options. If you need to have tutoring, you can go. It doesn't even matter where you live. If you were enrolled in my school and you became displaced, let's say, I'm going to give you an example because I know you're from that DC area. Let's say you got a student that comes to school and they live in Greenbelt, Maryland.
There you go.
They live in Greenbelt.
Okay.
But they were originally enrolled in a school in Northwest.
Okay.
Well, it doesn't matter. That school is responsible for transporting that kid back and forth.
Wow.
That's part of the McKinney-Vento.
Wow. That's wraparound services for your ass right there.
There you go. If that child, like for example, I created a laundry program in my school. We have a certain day, Friday, every Friday, the McKinney-Vento students, they could bring their laundry and we wash and dry it for them, right? Because they're displaced. But I'm gonna tell you something. I had a parent just last week in their 20s, 4 children. Child's father was recently incarcerated, and they told her, well, now this was in February. Well, you're gonna wait till the beginning of March to get placed. You gotta wait till March to get placed. So what are they supposed to do
till then? Right.
Until then, just live up to your promise. There's no reason why that woman should be in that situation.
None. We got the money.
We got the money. You're not going to tell me we don't have the money. That's not the truth. So, and we've already figured that out. It's just that now that the exposure is on a mainstream level now, right? The exposure. But why is this young lady with her children? Because the father, he's incarcerated. We could talk all day about circumstances and poor decisions, and we could do that. Yeah. But that's not what we're talking about right now. No. We're talking about
everybody make mistakes. Everybody
right. We ain't talking about that. We're talking about them 4 babies that from no fault of their own,
right,
are in the winter when we were having 17-degree weather. 20-degree weather, and you're going to tell this woman we can't find anything to you to the beginning of March. And so when you see things like this on a daily, which I do, I have a number of students that are on my rolls for McKinney-Vento. Wow. You know, it just saddens me because I'm saying you can't tell me we don't have the money.
Man, tell people where they can get more information about this program, brother.
You got to look it up. It's McKinney-Vento. It's McKinney-Vento, VENTO. Every district has a McKinney-Vento director, and every school should have a McKinney-Vento coordinator for their school.
Every school. You mean every school where?
In the nation.
What?
Should have one. Do they? Absolutely not.
Okay, because I never heard of this.
I know, and that's the killer. You may not have heard of it for 2 reasons. One, because you're not homeless, or 2, because now you're dipping into budgets.
I got 4 children in school, brother. I never heard of this. That's
right.
Crazy.
Exactly. And like I was saying, you know, you literally have to provide everything. If you're in a uniform school, you got to provide uniforms. If that child is that child can decide, you know what? This school has a volleyball team. I want to play volleyball. You got to give them their uniform, pay for all their transportation, everything. And I tell my McKinney-Vento students, you better take advantage of every opportunity we have here. Take advantage. Whenever there's giveaways as far as clothing, food, they're first on the list.
Right.
So you have programs that are set up to assist the least of our communities. And I say communities, plural. But like you said, you never hear about it because now you got to tap into that money. And people don't want you to mess with their bottom lines.
Brother. It sounds like an excellent program, brother. It needs definitely needs to get more awareness. I don't know what this does the state notify, or do people have to individually reach out to get access to the program? Like, I don't know how it works, but
the way it works is the person that is experiencing homelessness,
right?
All they have to do is say, I'm homeless. I'm displaced. That's it.
And when they look at a list of resources, one of the resources will be listed. McKinney-Vento will be one of the resources that they'll, that they qualify for.
They qualify for immediately. Immediately, if there's technology that they have to have access to, they get the technology. Specifically, if they live a distance, because like we had a student that actually was in Pennsylvania. Now I work in New Jersey. We had to provide transportation from Pennsylvania to New Jersey. And we had to give this student their own personal laptop because if there was a snow day in Pennsylvania, they couldn't make it.
Yeah.
So we had to do remote learning just for that one child.
Hey.
Yeah. But listen, we got the money. Don't tell me we ain't got the money when we cutting checks for other countries.
There it is.
Like 40 going north. Take care, fulfill the promise. Take care of your citizens, United States. That's all we want. And I think that I do genuinely believe that there is much to be said for those that have the colorblind ideology. I don't agree with the colorblind ideology, but I do believe in one thing. If you just give people the opportunity and do not impede their direction towards the resources,
right,
you will be amazed at how amazing this country could be. But the problem is, like we said before, is very little room at the top, and people don't want to share their space.
Speaking of education, when we talk about the board of education and what's going on with that, I got a lot of viewers. Is it Tim? Brother, you wrong about the Board of Education, man. This is a travesty what they're doing. And, it benefits a lot of Black folks having the Board of Education. And where are you coming from, Tim Black? And I look at the situation, I'm like, I've never had anybody ever in my history of being Black ever say, thank God for the Board of Education. They may say, thank God for my teacher, Dr. Musa Abdullah. They may say, thank God for the resource that was provided, or I got a great guidance counselor. The principal was a lot nicer and understanding than I thought they were going to be. We recently had to go to school for our daughter and work through some things, and we sitting there with the resource person, the vice principal, and another person, a therapist. I'm like, wow, this is great. We have all these people at the table about my daughter's issue. With a class with her teacher, and we getting this all sorted out, and we got a plan of action, and people following up, and we got the class dojo app for the kids. We got all these things, and I say this is great, but you know what? It didn't have anything to do with the Department of Education. It had to do with the resources in that school. So, Dr. Abdullah, what are your thoughts on what's going on with the Board of Education? Should it be phased out? Is Trump playing politics, or is this something that we should be upset about?
The Department of Education, I liken it unto the MTA, the Metro Transit Authority of New York City. It is a money pit. And I'm going to tell you, let me give all the viewers something they may not know, especially if you were born in the 70s. If you were born, early 70s to mid 70s.
Okay.
There was a part of your academic career when the Department of Education didn't even exist. The Department of Education wasn't even established until 1980.
That's Reagan.
Exactly. So if you're talking about how important it was, why did it take till the 80s to establish? Right? So this is what they recognized. There is so much money in education. We need to get in on this hustle. And it is a hustle. Up until that point, the states controlled the finances. And because they controlled the finances, they had more say in what was happening. And I'm going to tell you, if it were not for the Department of Education and some of the many, many, many politicians that subscribe to the idea of the Department of Education, this standardized testing wouldn't even be a thing like it is.
Wow.
And this is something people don't ever talk about because they're not in education. You got people that are not in education making educational policies, telling educators what we should do. Well, let me say this to you. Standardized testing is the dumbest thing on the planet if you are telling us we need to have differentiated instruction. So you want to tell me I need to tailor my instruction, but the test is standard? That's a contradiction in itself. But where does that come from? That comes from the state governments who take their cues from the federal government. No Child Left Behind was one of the worst educational policies ever introduced. But no one ever talks about it. It's kind of like, hey, it's gone now. At least we don't have to deal with it. I remember
this. What was so devastating about it? So that was implemented by the Board of Education, correct?
That was implemented by the Department of Education, where it gave standardized testing, and essentially it gave reward to those who were proficient on a massive scale, district-wide. If they were proficient, those districts received more money. But see, this is what people don't know. And I know because I was an educator during No Child Left Behind, and I dealt with the opposite end of it. Now, this is what's crazy. Just like the economic system in America where the middle class gets crushed, that's how it is in education. You got a lot of money if your school districts did well, but you also got a lot of money if your school districts did poorly.
What?
Yeah. They threw money at the problem. But the people in the middle, if you did okay, they're like, oh, you're okay. You don't need anything. You're good. But the people did well. Oh, you did well. We're going to reward you. Not even taking into consideration that schools changed their entire curriculum strategy to teach to the test. Now, the ones who didn't have the financial abilities to teach to the test and have test prep and all of those are the poor schools. Those are schools I've worked in all of my career. They got a lot of money too, but the money was top heavy. So you would say, so on average, a child in the district in which I worked, the average per child disbursement was about $24,000 per child. Well, if your district was terrible, now it bumped up to 30. They gave you an extra 6,000 per child.
Wow.
Right? But guess where that money went, Brother Black?
Uh-oh.
Administrators and administrative functions. Kids never saw it. Kids never saw it. Even during No Child Left Behind, even when the per capita, where the amount of money they gave per student was increased, me and my fellow staff members still had to buy supplies for kids. So that's how No Child Left Behind became one of the biggest farces in American education.
Brother. I feel like it's always the same song. We are just an instrument for people to make money off of us. That's all it is. It sounds like the same thing with all the other agencies. It's just a big slush fund. People picking up money. People just making out. So to you, if we lose the Department of Education, it's got to be some pluses to having it, right?
Of course.
Could you name some pluses and pros and cons to having it and letting it go? What's the pros to having it in place?
Well, I would say this. A big pro is that the local governments and the state governments will have to actually rely on educators to make educational policy. Go figure. So because now they're not getting directions from other politicians. They have to say, well, now we're out here by ourselves. And as a politician, you're on the, let's use New York. You're up in Albany. Well, you're a politician. You don't know anything about education. You can't create educational policy. You can't. You don't know. You wouldn't know where to begin. So what do you have to do now? You have to defer to educators. And the educators will say that what you did the last 5 years, that we knew that wasn't going to work when you introduced it. So now the major pro is that educators will be in charge of the devising, the curriculums, the implementation of educational policy, right? That's one. Another thing, the money has less hands to pass through. And now actual educators will be able to say, stop giving superintendents $300,000 a year jobs, $250,000 a year jobs. Stop paying their literally, and I'm going to say this from what I know, literally, brother, the assistants to the assist. Let me make sure I get it right. I don't want to screw it up because I want you to get this message. The assistants to the assistant superintendents are making $180,000 a year. We got to pause. Let's smoke that over. The assistant to an assistant.
You said assistant to the assistant
is getting $180,000. But I'm still buying pencils for my students.
That's what
I'm buying notebooks from the Dollar General for my students.
Right.
So that's a major pro because now that money's got to actually go to the kids. Now, here's the con that a lot of us are worried about. Now that the states are in control, well, now it depends on where you live, the types of curriculum that are allowed and that are disseminated to the teachers. Right? So you may very well have a government in your state that says, no, we ain't talking about all that old civil rights stuff and all that old. No, we ain't talking about. We're talking about American history and their idea of American history is white history.
Leave that out. Yeah, leave
that out. That's we ain't talking about that. Yeah, it was an unfortunate circumstance, but let's focus on the end result, right? So depending on where you are, that can be a major detriment.
Mm.
But to be very honest, that should be our community's push to create our own institutions under charter systems or private systems. But
so you support charter schools?
Oh yeah, I definitely support charter schools. I definitely support them.
Okay,
without question. And the reason why I support them is because the money is going directly to the staff and it's going directly to the students. I work in a charter school, brother.
Okay.
And this is the first time I've always worked in district schools. But ironically, the charter school I work at is literally around the corner from the district school I worked in.
Got you.
So I have the same students.
Wow.
Same families. This is how you know I've been in the game for a minute. I literally had a student that just left my school last year. I had her mother in the 6th grade.
Wow.
So that tells you I'm in the same community, right? So you can't say, oh, you're getting different kids. No. I'm getting the children of my former students.
Wow.
But I'm telling you, brother, my fellow educating staff members, they don't want for anything. And our children know it. Our children are spoiled. They don't know what it means to not have. They don't know. They don't know what it means to not be given access to programs and speakers and assemblies and lunches that are catered to the fact that we want them to be healthier. And they don't know that. They don't know they don't know what it means to not have it, because the majority of our children have been with us from the kindergarten all the way to 8th grade. So they understand just by the way they live in our academic environment, that whole charter system would actually be boosted if the Department of Education wasn't there.
Wow.
So as much as we have now, we'd actually get more.
Why would there be more resources?
Because it's fewer hands at the very top.
Okay.
Messing around with the money. Because people don't know 80% of every tax dollar, property tax dollar in your state, goes to public education.
80%.
80%. 80 cents of every dollar goes to public education. But a lot of that money it's touched by your politicians. Because they have mandates, they gotta grease palms, they gotta figure out which district they want to get more money than the other, and all that talk, all that finagling, all like you said, the slush fund. The Department of Education, I have yet to, in 24 years of being an educator, I have never said thank goodness for the Department of Education.
There it is.
I've never even met a person who worked at the Department of Education, and I lived in Maryland.
Wow, where'd you live in Maryland?
I lived in Mount Rainier.
Mount Rainier.
Mount Rainier is right across the street. I live literally across the street from Northeast.
Okay.
Yep. It was I was probably about 4 to 5 miles away from College Park.
On College Park, Maryland.
Yeah. I was in DC back when Anacostia and Southeast, they told us not to go there. Don't go across that bridge, brother. Don't go across that bridge unless you live there. Yeah.
I went to high school there. I went to Bladensburg High School, and I went to Northwestern High School, which is right on the edge of College Park.
Okay.
And we used to party in College Park.
Yeah.
And I went to school with Jay Bias.
Okay.
Lynn Bias is the great Lynn Bias's younger brother, who also was murdered. Well, he was murdered. Jay, as you know, Lynn, as you know, died of an overdose. But yeah, that College Park, that area, I'm very familiar with that area, brother. But man, just the way that you describe what's going on. So what's the pushback? Is this a good thing that Trump is doing?
It's something that should have been done a long time ago.
Wow.
It's only getting pushed back because it's Trump.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why. And this is what you don't see. Check it out. You don't see teachers complaining about that. You don't hear educators saying, oh my God, they're getting rid of the department. Said no teacher ever.
But Jasmine Crockett said it's bad. And it's because he wants to take your money and give it to Elon Musk, because Elon Musk wants to do things like go to the moon with the money.
Right.
And what's $5,000 anyway if you're living on the street?
Right. And once again, I say with full transparency, you have yet to hear an educator complain about the elimination of the Department of Education. Wow. As a matter of fact, it's not even a conversation. It's not a conversation. In my school, we have a high immigrant population. That's what my teachers are talking about. They're talking about these young children, what's going to happen to them. Because no matter what your position is on immigration, you can't look at a little 6-7-year-old and say, get him the hell up out of here, unless you're heartless.
I gotcha.
Unless you're heartless, brother. I'm sorry.
I understand.
You know what I'm saying? So that's the major conversation. But if you bring up the elimination of the Department of Education, like, well, I mean, how's it going to affect us? We don't see the detriment in it. We don't. Because I don't know anyone from the Department of Education. Never met a person. The only email I've ever gotten from the Department of Education is about my student loans. If I'm being honest,
it's just a bureaucracy. This is what JD Vance calls it. It's just a bureaucracy, which is just people with their hands in the cookie jar. Yep. A filter, a go-between, an in-between person taking a cut of money to basically, I don't know, maybe make some grand, higher arching type policies and yell from the mountaintops down to the others as they give you money that they've already taken a slice from.
Yep, they've already taken their big chunk.
Already got their piece. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And also will and deal. So that's when the corruption comes in, because if you got you got purse strings, then you have leverage.
I live in New York City, and I always tell people, if you ever want to know about the fallacy of equal education, come to New York City. And we have, a lot of people don't know this. You would think whenever you say the most segregated educational system in the country, your mind drifts to Mississippi and, to the South.
Yeah.
No, sir. It is New York City. And the most amazing thing about it is that we are a city. Yes, we're broken into boroughs. You got the 5 boroughs. You got Manhattan. You got Brooklyn. You got Queens. You got Staten Island. You got Bronx, right?
Okay.
Because we're one city, though, and as I explained earlier, 80 cents of every property tax dollar goes to education. Why is it that some schools look like the Jetsons and other schools look like the Flintstones? Help me to understand. If you're giving 80 cents of every tax dollar to the city for education, why is there such a disparity in education and its residents? For example, my section of Brooklyn, the schools, I live amongst my people.
Right.
And the schools in my neighborhood do not look like the schools near Dumbo or Brooklyn Heights or Prospect or Crown Heights.
Okay.
They don't, because the populations look different.
Apartments compared to single family
houses, to brownstones to high rises.
Gotcha.
So tell me how this is happening. It's because, as you said, it's a bureaucracy. And who are they taking their cues from? The Fed. It's always been this way, but now it's justified. Well, the federal government does it. Why can't we? We're going to put the money where we want to put it.
So, Dr. Musa, let's say it's you. All of a sudden, you put in place where you can have it your way. It's like Burger King, have it your way. I guess that was what I was saying back in the day. And you can make education in the way that you see fit, as far as Department of Education or state-run education or local, even more localized, teachers unions. It's a lot to look at there. But what would be the magic? What would you bestow? What would you ordain to happen to make education work for the average middle class or working class, below middle class Black kid in their family?
Well, first and foremost, I would make it mandatory the extended school day. What studies have found is that children rarely do homework. They rarely do it, even though it's assigned. So they literally have idle time from 3 until, let's say, maybe 8 o'clock.
Wow.
The school day should be extended until 5. That's one. There should be an increase of pay based on those metrics alone for educators, because they're working longer hours now.
Right.
They're doing a corporate shift. Also, stipends should be given to all teachers who involve themselves in extracurricular activities. It will incentivize them to be more involved with their student populations. There should be equal distribution of funding for all schools in every city.
Wow.
I don't care where the school is. I don't want to hear that it's in this part of town.
Wow.
I don't care.
So
Equal funding.
from a state level, when you're allocating, it's an even split. You take the money and split it up based on the
There
number
it
of
is.
districts.
That's the way it should be.
That's the way it should be.
It should be.
It was racism that made them put it by that was
Yeah. So they would say, well, so with white flight, a lot of people left and they took their money. They left, they closed their businesses. They're not paying taxes on their business anymore.
Right.
They're not paying tax on their house anymore. So now you have this financial drain. Well, if you're in these cities in the state, oh no, we're gonna spread it out evenly, baby. It's gonna be even. It's gonna be even. Why should you, who lives literally, and this is how it works sometimes, brother, your district is across the street from mine. And you've got solar panels, you've got a Mac room, you've got, but now we got the broke down Acer computers.
Right.
Our field, we're using the field that the city gave us.
Potholes in our lawn.
Potholes and everything. But you got a multi-million-dollar field. Tell me how that makes sense. But we're all getting our money from the same state? No. We're not going to do it by city. We're going to do it by state. You want to give up you want to live in this state? Just be aware that little kid that don't look like yours is going to get the same level of funding and intervention, because that's what you also get. You get a brain drain in our communities, brother. You get the teachers that nobody wants in our communities.
There it is.
So if you make it so that for example, my district, there's a district in New Jersey right now, brother. A lot of people don't even know this. It flies under the radar, but I keep myself abreast of educational news, especially in New Jersey. There's a district right now, their starting pay for teachers is $80,000. Starting pay. Now, they're going to work for that money.
Right.
They're going to work for it. But you give them $80,000 starting pay.
That's good. Yeah.
That's great money. Think about it. If you're 24 years old, right, and you are telling me you can't do no $80,000?
Yeah.
Man, my first job when I graduated from college, I was making $22,000 and I thought I was rich.
Yes, sir.
Right? So that $8,000, yes, it is comparable. We get it. I understand. But everybody's starting pay. If that one district can do it, every district can do it.
Right.
If they can afford to do it, every district can. But why aren't they? Because it's a slush fund. If I give you less money, that means I get more.
Yeah.
The superintendent district of one of my former districts, man, he was making, like I said, $300,000 a year. And he was literally running the district into the ground.
That's more than Congress people make.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
You're talking about people and it's just like Congress, there are no term limits. There are no term limits. So that's those are some of the many, many things I would do. Also, I would make, now this is where it gets a little controversial. I would mandate that all children must be involved in an extracurricular activity. It is a part of the curriculum.
Okay.
Now, when you do that, though, now you have to have a large number of offerings.
Okay.
Which I don't have a problem with. Let's go ahead and offer them everything. Also, one final thing I would do, I would bring back trade to all school districts as an option, as a post-secondary option. So you can obtain your apprentice cert or whatever it is while you're in high school. While you're in high school, so you can walk out to high school and get a job and or start a business, whatever it may be. Also, while we at it, basic accounting should be a math course.
Right.
Basic accounting, because guess what most business owners need and use? Basic accounting, brother.
Who you telling, man? It's tax season for us over here.
It's basic accounting, brother.
Yeah, I got an LLC. I got a corporation, and same thing. I got a corporation, and that's my biggest expense, brother.
There you go.
The biggest expense my business has is bookkeeping and accounting.
So imagine if you got this young, energetic boy or girl, a young man, young woman. They out of school, they're hungry. They trying to get their feet wet. They want to make some money. And they're young, so they're open to new things. They're ready to listen to you, but they're open to new things. And brother, do you know we could change the trajectory of this country, man? Wow. Just for something like that. But you're trying to always isolate and keep resources away from certain communities. But if you say, once again, I'm gonna go back to it. If you tell United States, fulfill your promise. You made a promise, fulfill it. Everybody wins. No one loses.
Is that the thing though? They don't want everybody to win.
They don't want everybody to win, brother. You know it, and I know it.
We know it. But I love the wish list. Oh, you left one thing out though, Dr. Musa, and I gotta call you out on it because it's something that I know you talked about before, and I'm glad you left me to tee it up for you. What about Black teachers, Dr. Musa?
Brother, thank you for smacking me in the back of the head on that one. There should be a concerted recruitment effort to Black male teachers. I'm talking about loan forgiveness, scholarship opportunity, job placement, opportunities for grant writing. And people say, what's grant writing got to do with it? So these brothers can start schools.
Bam.
That's why. Teach them how to write grants. Teach them how to get the funds for schools. But brother, at a 2% rate of educating staff, Black men, and the data has shown that we increase graduation rates during formative years. We increase in graduation rates. Why aren't you recruiting? Why aren't you saying, hey, if you become a teacher, don't worry about the tuition. We got you. You're going to get in there. You're going to get this degree. You work in these areas for 10 years. You're done. You ain't going to worry about it no more.
Wow.
You ain't going to worry about it. Now thank you, Brother Black, for bringing that to the forefront. That's exactly one of my things. Open and intentional recruitment of Black men in education.
Man, you the first person I ever heard tell me that, man. You when we interviewed the first time we sat down, we talked, bro, and you told me that, man. You had me, man. I was stuck. You understand what I'm saying? I was stuck when you explained to me the major positive impact a Black man has on it, not just Black kids.
Not just Black kids. And I tell people, 32%, if you have a Black male teacher from grades K through 6, just 1 year, 32% of that Black male population is increased. Their graduation is increased. But if you are Susie, little white girl Susie, and I walk in the room and she asks me for a year, her graduation rate projection is increased by 18%. Who's losing with that? No one's losing. Everyone's winning, brother.
Little Susie wins, Darnell wins, Chiquita wins,
everybody wins, Maria wins, Habib wins, everybody wins. That's right.
Man, Boomshika, everybody. Let's line up, let's get our money right. And you said trades too? Because everybody like, I don't want to be learning, I ain't all smarty-arty, I don't want to do smarty-arty. Right. Learn how to plumb. Learn how to be a plumber. I had to hire one a few weeks ago.
And I'm gonna tell you this, and I'm gonna tell you this too. promote these trades to
Yes.
both genders.
Exactly.
Promote them to both genders, brother. What? Let me tell you something. I ain't got no problem with a woman coming here and fixing my plumbing.
She know what she's doing. She know what she's doing.
You know what you're doing? Well, get on here and take care of this. I can't do it. You can do it. And also offer the skill sets that a lot of girls wish they had access to. Yeah. Do you know that there's a school in the city in which I work that has cosmetology? They damn near have a waiting list to get in that school.
I'm sure they do. Yes.
I had a good friend in high school, a guy. He's like, man, I'm going to school to be a nail tech. I was like, are you serious? He said, man, and it ain't easy because there's a lot of science involved. He said, man, you know me. He said, think about it. I get top dollar and I get to look in women's faces all day. You think I was like, well, go ahead, mother. What can I say to that? I can't say nothing to you about that because I get paid to look in women's faces all day.
Now, some of them now. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. Everybody. You don't want to stare at everybody.
Not all of them. The ones you like, you just look in their face. But the ones you don't like, you're looking at the nails. You know?
There you go.
But you got to offer these opportunities, brother. And let me tell you something. If you offer every opportunity to all children, they will be taken. As they say, what was the movie Field of Dreams?
Field of Dreams.
Build it, and they will come.
There it is.
Build it, and they will come.
Man, do you have a problem when you get schools with people with the smartphones, man? I know it seems like this whole swiping thing, man, is a big impact on school. I don't think we would have ever graduated if we had smartphones.
A lot of us probably would have ended up in jail.
That's what I'm saying.
Smartphones, right?
What's your prognosis on it?
Yeah. Well, I did a broadcast on that on my channel, but I'll tell you this. There has now been created a cottage industry that is combating cell phone use. There is a company, and I got to give them a shout because they listen, it's a company that's out there. It's called Yonder, YONDR. For those that are in education, if your school is not up on it, check into Yonder. They're Yonder pouches. These phone, they have these pouches. They put the phone in, and it has a magnetic clasp. The only way you can get it is if you have the magnet. You put the magnet and it pops open. They have access to their phone. Because one of the biggest problems with taking phones from students is now you're responsible for it.
Gotcha.
And phones nowadays, on average, are $800 to $1,500. So imagine if, let's use a scenario that I've actually seen occur. A teacher confiscated like 5 phones. Another student broke into their desk and stole said phones. Now the school is on the hook for 5 phones that on average range between $800 to $1,500. But the Yonder pouch eliminates that. You put your phone in it, you close it, here you go, you carry your phone.
That's like going to a comedy show, going to a Dave Chappelle concert.
There you go.
Knock your phone out when you get in here. We had to do that when we went to see Chris Tucker. Chris Tucker's funny dude down at the National Harbor. And yeah, the pouches. Okay, so I get the concept.
And then they have another company. I forgot the name of the company though. They have what's called phone lockers. So they're about yay big, and they have about 30 to 40 compartments. You have a number on each little compartment, and the students know which number they're. You're number 2. You put your phone in locker number 2, and it's one lock. It gets locked. All of them are locked up at the same time. The teacher, the only thing that is a little bit hinky is that the teacher is in possession of the phone locker. So if the phone locker comes up missing, well, now you're on the hook for all those phones. But how they've mitigated that is the teachers take their phone lockers, and all the phone lockers at one time are locked in a one room. And typically it's in a room that is adjacent to the administrator's office. So there's no reason for children to be there anyway.
Would every kid need their own locker? Do you have to have enough lockers for every phone in the school?
If you have a phone
Wow.
You got to lock her.
That's a big industry, bro.
Yeah, it's a cottage industry because you find children that cannot function. Screen addiction is real.
You're right.
It is not a conspiracy theory. You have children. I have had students that I've confiscated phones. I know that education is relational. So I can walk up to a kid and say, kick it over, man. Kick it over. And they'll give it to me because they know we have a relationship.
Doc got me. Oh.
But yeah, he like, man, am I getting it back today? You know, I have that conversation.
Right.
But what I know is that when you tell children that you're going to take their phone, they're willing to take a suspension from school.
What? As
opposed to giving up that phone. They be like, well, if you don't give up that phone, we got to get your mother here. Go ahead and call my mother.
Wow.
Go ahead and call my father. I ain't giving you my phone. Especially if it's on a Friday.
Oh.
They like, you might not give me my phone. I'm not going to have my phone all weekend.
I'm like, I might not be able to get it back. Nah. But you'll get it back by the end of the day, right?
Of course we do, but this is where it gets interesting. If there are too many infractions on a particular student, you can ban that phone from the school.
Wow.
So you have parents who will come up and turn up in epic fashion because you confiscated their children's phone.
We still doing that, bro.
Yes, sir.
You still showing up and turning up.
Yes, sir. Turning up. And their favorite phrase is, you didn't pay for it. You can't take it.
Lord have mercy.
Oh man, you know how many knockdown dragouts I've gotten into? I got into I remember one time I came back to work because I took a kid's phone, put it in my bag, had to leave work early, and it was a Friday. Had that kid's phone all weekend. Wow. I got to work the next day. Now, mind you, I get to work an hour early every day. That parent beat me to work.
What?
Oh yeah. And
as you was parking your car.
I look inside the building, the principal met me at the door. You know such and such parents here, right?
Lord,
I was like, oh my God, about the phone. He said, yeah, let's go ahead and meet.
They're going to fight you out the school over that phone.
I got chewed out by the principal.
Trying to knuckle up with doctor over a phone.
Over a phone. And you ready for how old the child was? You ready?
How old, brother?
12. It's not like the kid had a job. It's not like
he got.
What was so important that he needed the phone? Now, on the flip, I got to always give flowers to my wonderful parents. I've had parents that say, take the phone and I'll tell you when to give it back. And it ain't going to be. And, I've had phones for months.
Wow.
Parents say, keep it. And then the parent will call me once a week. How are they doing? Oh, they're doing okay, but they had a little slip up. Oh, keep it another week. I want a perfect week.
That's
what they would say.
Yeah, baby. That's the collateral. That's what they care about. That's what it gets that way sometimes,
Oh yeah.
Doctor, I'm telling you, man, I just had some random things, but we didn't hit on so many things, man. I don't even know if I want to go to the random things. I'll say this, man. Maybe we can close it down with this, man. Just for shits and giggles, man. I don't know if you're aware that Joy Reid lost her job.
Joyless Reid did lose her job. I do. And I'm going to say this. I never want to celebrate another person's failure. But I will say this.
I was waiting on the but. I was like, I know it's going to be a but going to come up here.
I will say this, but she was a detriment to our community. She was a detriment to the community of people who want to be informed. She was doing what we do in reverse. We bring up the topic and we give commentary. That's not your job, Joy. Your job is to present the facts.
Yep.
That's your job.
That's her job.
That should be simple. But enough people have said enough is enough. And the structures are looking around saying, people ain't listening.
People are not listening.
Stop telling me it's because she's black. Stop telling me it's because she's a woman. It's because the ratings were trash.
The ratings were trash.
And no one wanted to hear it. And I think that the news reporting community is much better for her release.
Yeah, it'll be a culture change. You'll see a sea change in the way others are going to react after her demise, because she was one of the big dogs.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. She's been around since what, 2020 or 2019?
2020. I think she got her own show in 2020, but yeah.
Yep.
She was there before she got her own show.
Got that primetime spot.
That primetime slot. You know, the thing with the thing that's making me bang my head, brother, is that I got people that are adamant this is racial, Tim. I'm like, I put in a video that Simone Sanders and Michael Steele got their slot. So
on a panel show.
Yeah. And also what Menendez sister is a Mexican sister that's also, so those three. So if you're replacing black people with more black people,
how the hell is it racist?
How's it racism, man?
It makes no sense.
Can't she just be bad at her job, dog? Can you
just be terrible? Can you just be terrible? Is it a possibility? Can we entertain the possibility? And then you're replacing a woman with a woman. So two women.
I didn't even think about that. There you go. Perfect.
So you can't be misogynistic.
There it is. Last time I checked, Simone Sanders was a sister.
Last time I checked, yes, she did move like a linebacker protecting Joe, but she's still a lady. She's still a woman.
You know what, brother? I had figured something. Now I don't want to take the steam from there, but I gotta say, because I just stumbled upon this yesterday during the live stream. Simone Sanders used to be a very progressive, not middle of the road. She was like a Bernie person. She worked for Bernie.
She worked with his campaign, didn't she?
She did. And then after that, she went with Biden. And I've been looking at it one way all this time. I've been looking at it saying, you know what? Simone Sanders is a mercenary. Simone Sanders just want that paper. Simone Sanders don't care. But is it possible that Simone Sanders, upon working with Bernie Sanders, maybe she realized something? These people ain't shit.
And I got to get in where I fit in.
I got to get in with these people ain't shit. She went with Bernie. You know, they had to tell her, oh, you going against Hillary? Oh, girl, you going to ruin your career. You're going to ruin your life. And she's like, I'm going to do it anyway. And then she got in there and Bernie, they was like, reparations. Bernie was like, what is reparations? What is reparations?
Yeah, he said that.
What does that really mean? I don't know. He come from a people that got reparations.
Who still get reparations.
Asking you, define it. Make it up. So it's just a theory I have. I know it's a long shot. But you think it's possible Simone Sanders, there's this thing in the Jehovah's Witnesses where they say you can stumble somebody. They disassociate people out of their religion sometimes because they say if you got these bad actions that you are doing, somebody close to you going to see that and say, oh, if they could do it, I can do it. And you can stumble them out of the religion where they feel like, hey, well, you know what? They ain't doing it, I ain't doing it. They don't have to follow rules, I don't have to follow rules. So they do the ostracizing, disfellowshipment. My mom is a Jehovah's Witness, I'm not. So I know about it. So I bring that up to say this. You think it's possible that Bernie Sanders stumbled Simone Sanders right out of being more progressive, being more, I would say, for lack of a better word, more supportive of issues that you think she would support as a foundational black sister?
I would agree with you, brother. And I think it goes back to what we said earlier. We also need to consider that someone had that conversation with her, the conversation we spoke on earlier. Hey, this community is done. You need to do the best you can. You're young. You're just now getting into the field. You could become something great, but you got to play ball.
You got to play ball.
Because you can't justify that strong of a pivot and deviation from her original stance. This woman was championing universal health care.
She was.
I mean, that was out of her own mouth. It wasn't a rumor. Because that's what Bernie talked about.
Ending mass incarceration,
universal health care,
school free local community college tuition.
Yes.
She was on that, man. It was federal jobs guarantee. She was talking that shit. It was a totally different thing to go to Biden.
I think it also to consider, she might, like you said, man, she may have been around Birdie and really realized what he was really about.
Mm-hmm. Sheepdog.
Said, damn, if you're like this, and you're outwardly speaking for the policies and programs that you wish the American people could benefit from, these other guys, I can't imagine what they're like, but they got all the money, Bernie. So why am I gonna stick around with you? So let me go on over here and get this money.
Let me go get the money.
And I think, and I'm gonna be honest with you, like you said, they can't all be coons. I think that I think some of them actually believe once I get established, I'm gonna circle back. But they just never circle back.
Yeah, that's the trap. You once you get established, now you got to keep it.
Yep, I agree.
That's the thing, my brother.
I agree,
brother. And we want to keep you, Dr. Musa, doing what you do, brother. We want to make sure we have people know exactly where to go to follow you, what they need to do to get more of this all things education with Dr. Tell them where to go, brother.
Brother, I would say thank you so much. If you'd like to follow my content, I'm speaking on educational news from a foundational Black American man's perspective, giving you educational news that is relevant and immediate. And you can find me at All Things Education Official on YouTube. And you can follow my newest endeavor with Michael Burt, The Grit. It's called The Grit Network, DAGRIT Network. We're talking about all things relative to the community and the culture. And that's where I can be found. Follow me on my Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Rumble, LinkedIn, and X.
Man, how's that Rumble thing going, man? How's that platform?
It ain't rumbling, but you know,
I want it too. I don't ever be on the. I don't really push it on it when I want it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do it just in the strength that if anything ever happens, I have a backup.
Backup to the backup to the backup.
Backup to the backup, brother. Right.
Man, brother. Hey, Doc, man, this has been a great conversation, man.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for doing this with me. It's something I endeavored to do. I said, I ain't gonna look. I want to do some long form content. Yeah. I ain't trying to be Joe Rogan. I ain't trying to be Cam and Mace, but we should be able to do some long form content, you know, and bring people in and just have a conversation. Shannon Sharp say, just have a conversation. This ain't no damn interview. You got other interviews. You did some great interviews. You did some great work with O'Shea Duke Jackson, by the way. Very entertaining and very informative. So they can find you. You can find my brother Doctor online. He's got a lot of great content, guys. But this, I just wanted to talk with my brother. I just wanted to chop it up with him and just show he a regular down to earth brother with a lot of shit, a lot of knowledge to give. I
appreciate you. And I like to say, let me make my last team. I like to say, Brother Black, I want to say I appreciate you. I appreciate your content. I appreciate your insight. You help teach me things and I can impart that information. A lot of times you say things and it makes me do my research just a little bit deeper. And you help give me a different perspective, man, because you taught me something. Both parties suck, Johnson.
Both parties suck, Johnson, don't they? My brother. I got a new shirt, guys, I want to tell you about. It's called Built for This, because we are built for this. The pride and resilience that my people show, we're going to stand 10 toes down on what we believe. We will not move off our square for nobody. Built for this. We need the truth, and I'm built to give it to you. You got to be built to take it.